It's Monday.
It is indeed. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
I actually can't believe it's already Monday.
I know. Not only already Monday, but
May.
it's May.
It's your birthday month.
It's my birthday month.
It's Taurus season. Yay!
It is Taurus season. Correct.
Some of my favorite people are Tauruses.
Really? Who?
My dad.
Your dad? Yeah.
I guess there's you.
Oh, I guess.
Amy's Taurus as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it? Okay.
Three very important people.
Okay.
Good morning. Hi, Cindy. Ooh, hi, Leah. Hi. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. Good morning, Jen.
Yeah. If you have any requests, tell us. We'd love to work on some of your requests. You have a request?
No, I'm good.
Oh.
Happy to do whatever.
What?
I don't know, I'm just being awkward.
Oh, okay. So, like usual.
Thanks.
That's fair. Does anyone? Okay, fair enough. Like we socialize with each other, but for those of us that have
I've totally forgotten how to socialize.
correct, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I
What's
feel like
everyone else doing with their socializing game?
low back, yes.
Virginie, yeah,
Yeah.
low back. Wow, I
Knee
can't see.
mobilization. Yeah, I will say if you're having any current knee issues, to be very careful when you're practicing yoga because unstable knees kind of a rough thing to
Just
deal
make
with.
sure you always track knees and toes in the
Yeah.
same direction, especially
Yeah.
in lunges and stuff. Like I see a lot of people when they're in lunge, if the knee is not stabilized, muscles around the knee are not very strong, they end up, toes pointing forward, but the knees start to turn in or out, and then they're bearing weight.
Especially our friends that are runners. And I know that the weather is a bit nicer. I mean, contrary to the last week, but with the weather a little bit nicer, maybe people are out running and
Plus, there's nothing else to do. So.
yeah, in older footwear, that kind of stuff. So just pay attention to maybe if it's something you've changed up in your schedule that's rocking the knees. But yeah, we can definitely work on some stuff that will make the knees feel better by releasing the muscles above and below the knee. There really isn't any knee stretch, but definitely there is.
Yeah. Good morning,
mobilization.
Jonathan's mom.
Good morning, Mom. Should we start?
Yeah, we should get started.
Let's do
All
it.
right, so it's finding a comfortable seated position. Relax your shoulders, have your spine nice and tall. Close your eyes. And I want you to take a really deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh that breath out. And again, deep breath in. Hold the breath in for a moment. Keep that breath in, but when you do sigh it out, try to make it a little more exaggerated. Don't worry, no one else is looking at you. So open your mouth, let that breath go. We'll do that one more time. Deep breath. Hold it in. Feel the fullness of your inhale, and again, exaggerate your exhale through the mouth. Sigh it out. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. Maybe straighten out the spine a little. And for this morning, I want you to imagine your breath more like the waves of the ocean, waves crashing to shore. You can imagine your body as the shore, or you're lying on the shore. And perhaps imagining the water as room temperature or warmer. And every time you breathe in, the sound of your breath is the waves kind of crashing onto your body, onto the shore. Feeling that water over the body. Every time you exhale, the wave recedes back into the ocean, taking away with it any discomfort you might be feeling in the body. any tiredness, any doubt, stress, worries, perhaps bad experiences. Each exhale is a cleanse, is a release. And every inhale, your body is covered by this nourishing water or breath, full of life and vitality, full of hope, full of possibilities. Perhaps adding a little bit of that ujjayi sound. So when you breathe in and out, allow your breath to brush against the back of your throat, creating that wave-like, sigh-like sound. And continue to let your exhales wash away any uncertainties, any heaviness that you feel in the body, whatever you might still be clutching onto tightly in your mind that may no longer serve you. And you letting go doesn't have to be instantaneous. Just like waves that wash over the shore, little by little, taking away with it as the wave recedes. Like water washing over rocks. Allow your process of letting go be slow. And the next time you breathe in, again, take a deeper inhale. Imagine a particularly large wave coming onto shore. Sigh that breath out again. Again, deep breath in. Sigh it out. One more time, breathe. And let go. You can connect your palms in front of your heart in prayer. Feel free to join us. Deep breath in for a sound of Om. Bow your head and blink your eyes open.
All right. In the seated position, straighten your legs out in front of you. Nice. And then take the feet about hip width. You can have the hands braced behind you. Point your toes. And then flex the ankles. Point the toes. Squeeze the back of the calves. Flex the ankles. Squeeze your shins. Just going slow. Checking in with the plantar flexion and extension. Really nice. For a moment, I blanked on the other one. It's actually plantar flexion.
Yeah, I was like, there's no extension.
And dorsal flexion. Dorsal, like the dolphins.
I didn't want to say anything.
I was like, what is it? Extension. So especially if you've been, say, running a little bit more or doing anything that involves
Or walking
using
more.
your ankles. Yeah, walking even more, exactly. All right, pause. So the toes are facing the ceiling. Then turn the soles of the feet towards each other and away from each other. So we're working supination and pronation here with the ankle. You might notice the edges of your shins. The inner edge, that medial line, the outer edge, the lateral line. And just breathing here.
Also might notice if you kind of engage other body parts, especially in this one, I find it's not a motion we do often. So when I initially start this, I notice like I do funny things with my jaw to try to like
face.
Yeah, to try to force my feet to turn more.
Okay, just one more time. And then we'll pause and center. Nice. You cross the ankles, roll over the legs. Let's find a tabletop position. So in that tabletop position, palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Exhale, tucking round the spine. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale to tuck and round. Inhale to lift and arch. And just one more time. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. Come back to neutral. Tuck your toes and lift the knees up an inch or two in your tabletop. And try to stack the heels right on top of the balls of the feet. So even as we're working the core here, the shoulders, you're also stretching the soles of the feet. Breathe. Really nice. Such a simple looking shape, but a lot going on.
Yep.
Breathe. So notice if your legs kind of get shaky and want to go all over the place. Feel like you have a block between your thighs and you're holding it really strong in your quads, your hip flexors. Just one more breath. All right, lower the knees down together at the center of your mat. Untuck the toes. Then as you sit back towards the heels, slide the palms back so they're face up next to the feet. Modified child's pose. It's allowing a softening here. If you carry a fair amount of tension in the front of the tops of the feet and the shins, you might be noticing it's a little challenging to sink all the way back. If you ever need, it's just not working to point the toes perfectly straight in line with the shins, take a blanket, roll that up into a tube, and place that between your ankle crease and the floor. One more big breath there in that modified child's pose. And open your mouth, let it go. Take the palms in line with your shoulders, push down, and sit up into a kneeling shape. So again, in that kneeling shape, it's really uncomfortable for the ankles or the shins, a rolled up blanket at the ankle crease, or sit on a block, or just skip the kneeling shape. So in that kneeling shape, reach the arms back behind you, catch opposite elbows behind your back. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other and feel the heart lift up and forward. And if you're holding a fair amount of tension across the shoulders, you might already feel it there. You can go a little deeper, interlace the hands behind the back. Reach that fist down towards the floor as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. Both work well. Just depends on how much tension you're holding in your shoulders, your chest. Just one more breath there. All right, sigh it out and release. Push down into your shins and lift your bum up. Lean towards the left knee and step the right foot forward to the top of the mat. All right, press your hips forward and down and pay attention to where that knee is going here. So it's actually not a problem, right? If we're intentionally taking the knee past the toes, past the ankle in an effort to stretch the calf or the ankle, right? But if it's happening kind of unconsciously, that's kind of the danger zone. Same with if the knee's coming in or out. It's It's not necessarily a bad thing if we're doing it intentionally. But if we're sinking all this weight down into the body, and this is just kind of happening without me thinking about it, I'm collapsing the ankle, my knees coming out to the side, that's kind of the danger zone. So just be really intentional here. Point the knee in the direction of your toes and think about sinking the hips a bit lower, stretching the left iliopsoas system. Well, at the same time, we're actually strengthening this right leg. We're thinking about mobilizing the knee by bringing stability into that right leg. One more breath. Okay, as you exhale, pull your hips back. If you have sensitive knees, pad that left knee by folding the mat or taking a blanket under the mat. Straighten the right leg. And you don't have to lock the knee. It doesn't have to be like perfectly straight. There might be a little bend to it. Hands on your hips. Keeping this nice tall spine, begin to lean forward, hinge forward. And the object isn't necessarily to come all the way down towards the leg. It's to find that balance between stretching the right hamstrings, but also maintaining the extension through your spine. Because I know that some of us could probably come all the way down if we allowed that rounding of the spine. This isn't a bad thing. But I want you to find that extension through the spine as well as the stretch in the hamstrings. Half splits. One more inhale. All right, exhale to carefully come all the way up. Nice, bend into that right knee again, tuck the back toes, pick up the knee. High runner's lunge. So with the high runner's lunge, because we're putting more weight into that right leg, it becomes even more important to think about that intentionality, right? Where you're pointing the toes and the knee. Breathe. You sink a little bit deeper into the legs, and just notice if even there's just like a subtle movement out or in. It's not always gonna be a big movement. It might be really small and subtle. Add the arms reaching up. Breathe here. So even as we reach the fingertips up, we're thinking pelvic floor, pressing down. Right? And if you go lower, notice if you get that little bit of shift. It might be really subtle. Right? But try to maintain that alignment even as you sink lower. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hands down to the floor. Step the right foot back from high plank, lower down to your belly. Press into the tops of the feet. Inhale, peel up chest and chin, baby or full cobra. Exhale to lower all the way down. Nice, one more time. Inhale, lift up. And exhale to lower. Press yourself up to tabletop. Now in your tabletop, palms again are under the shoulders. Knees under the hips. Squeeze the right heel towards your bum. Engage the right hamstrings. Nice. Take the right knee up and back. Thank you, Queenie. And then take the right knee to the side, out to the right. Knee comes forward. Knee goes up and back. So you're drawing big circles with the right thigh. So for those of you that are experiencing, let's say, in your lunge, some discomfort in your low back or your SI joint at the back of the pelvis, right, some of that is coming from a hypermobility here in that area. So stuff that's going to mobilize the hip, right, is actually going to make that feel a little bit better. Strengthening the right hip will make a big difference for the SI joints, as opposed to just trying to stretch to get rid of that discomfort. You might need to strengthen. Change direction. One more circle.
Doing it for so long.
And release. This time knees go wide. Big toes touch into the back of your mat. Sink the hips back. Find child's pose. Well done, Queenie.
Thanks.
Settling into the floor, noticing maybe the balance or imbalance between left side and right side. There might be a little bit difference. Take one more breath. As you sigh that breath out, walk your hands back towards your knees. Take the knees to touch. Come up again into that kneeling shape. This time in your kneeling shape, reach your fingertips forward. You can cross the right arm under the left, give yourself a big bear hug, or find eagle arms, really up to you. Press the elbows forward, and then think about rounding the spine a little bit. Tuck the chin. Breathe into the upper back and mid back, where you might be holding tension there. You can lean a little bit to the left and the right. All right, come up through center, release the arms, recross them, other arm on the bottom. So left arm onto the right, other a big bear hug, or you're finding eagle arms Elbows push forward, and then you can round the spine a little bit, tuck the chin, breathe into your upper back and mid back. Just one more breath. All right, you can sigh it out. Release the arms. Push into your shins. Sit the hips up. Just lean the weight to the right knee. Set the left foot forward. Press the hips forward and down, and just notice any sensation you're getting. I myself, with some of the extra stuff we've been doing outdoors, have been noticing my feet have been sore in different ways than they normally are. So that might also affect some of the alignment, right? When you're actually pressing the hips forward and down, depending on what you feel in the foundation, you might be like, ooh, it's a bit sore, so you favor to one side. Try not to, right? Try to find that same strong foundation. Breathe here. Stretching the right iliopsoas system, hip flexors. Just one more breath. All right, now as you exhale, pull your hips back, pad the knee if it's required. Straighten that left leg without locking the knee if that's really uncomfortable for you. So it might be a bit of a subtle bend to the knee if required. Hands on the hips, begin to hinge forward, maintaining some of that extension through your spine. And so that as you find Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits, we're thinking spine and torso staying relatively stable, even as we stretch the left hamstrings, the back of the left thigh. If you are feeling the back of the knee or the base of the bum, you're working into the insertion points of the hamstrings, and it's kind of the danger zone. Body won't like that very much because it stresses out not just the tendons, but the ligaments.
Really make sure you're not putting the weight into the left knee, the leg that is straight, especially as you're leaning forward more.
Yep.
And do try to add that bend to the knee. It makes it a lot harder.
One more breath. All right, on the exhale, pull yourself all the way back up. Bend into the left knee, tuck the back toes, and pick up the knee. All right, and again, we're watching that left knee just for those little subtle things. So myself, right now, I know that the outer edge of my foot's a bit sore, so I tend to want to favor to the big toe side. I'm going to push into that pinky toe side a little bit, to keep that knee tracking with the toes. Nice. Add the arms reaching up, fingertips reaching away from pelvic floor. Even as you sink the hips down, feel like you're reaching up through your fingertips. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hands down. Step the left foot back from high plank, lower all the way to your belly. Pressing into the tops of the feet, inhale, peel up chest and chin, baby or full cobra. Exhale, lower back down. Just once more, inhale, lift. And exhale to lower. Push yourself up to tabletop. Pause in tabletop. And this time, I think I should get it. Squeeze the left heel towards your bum. Take the left knee back and up. Left knee out to the side and forward. Back and up to the side and forward. So you're drawing big circles with that left knee. Notice if, as you're doing that, kind of the hips are going all over the place. Try to keep your hips and your shoulders relatively stable as you're drawing these circles. The idea is that the left thigh is doing the lion's share of the movement. Everything else is just subtly adjusting to maintain your alignment. Change direction. Knee goes forward, back, to the side, back. Last 3. And release. This time, your choice. You can either take child's pose with the knees together or child's pose with the knees wide. Make your option. Breathe into your hips, your shoulders, your spine. So recognizing where you have some space and where you might still have some opportunity. Just one more breath. And as you sigh that out, take the palms forward by the shoulders, tuck your toes, and sit towards your heels. So one of the last steps here to find the soles of the feet getting a little bit of a stretch. You can walk the knees forward or walk the knees back, stretching into the soles of your feet. Find a little bit of release.
This pose is definitely always an indicator for me. Some days I go into it like no big deal, stay here for quite a while, and then some days it's like holy crap.
Yeah, with some of our outdoor activities, running and longboarding and stuff, we are definitely noticing our feet. Just one more breath. Okay, now as you exhale, take the hands forward, and you're actually going to push and lift your knees, away from the floor, so that you bring the soles of the feet down. Wiggle the feet to a distance that seems right. Find Malasana, garland pose. So in our Malasana, we're still thinking about the foundation, right? The ankles are a huge component, but we're traveling up the legs, the inner thighs, the outer hips also become quite important here. The feeling in your low back, in your lumbar spine. If you want to stretch the inner thighs, push the elbows into the knees, bring the palms into prayer. So actually stimulating that stretch into the inner thighs and deep groin. But you don't have to stretch that part. You might decide in your Malasana, it's actually enough just to have the fingertips resting on the floor or the elbows resting on the knees. Right? You'd like to focus on keeping the knees kind of tracking with the toes. Always turn the toes out or in. And really feeling the back of the hips. If you want to make it a bit more challenging, lift your bum up 3 or 4 inches. So actually engage the legs as you're holding this deep squat. And then I'm just going to leave you here for like the last 2 minutes. Just for like 5 or 10 seconds, breathe. So whether you're engaging, right, or stretching, it's an effective shape. It just depends on what your body needs today. Last big inhale. Now as you exhale, fold over the legs. Turn your toes forward, have the feet hip width and parallel. Spread your toes. So you're really feeling that foundation root down into the floor, and then the torso just pours over the legs like a waterfall. I'm going to catch opposite elbows and dangle here. Sway left and right. Just feeling that left and right side of the low back, where there might be more tension on one side versus the other. Nice. Take your time. Inhale, roll all the way up to stand. Okay, give it a little shake in Tadasana. So I'm guilty of this. I would often say to someone like, oh, listen to what's happening with your knees. They're popping and cracking. It's maybe an indicator of something going on. Actually, popping knees, it's not an indicator of anything. That's an indicator of you having knees, right? So it's okay if you have those crunches and popping happening. So turn your toes out in line with the knees. We're going to sink down towards deep squat. I want you to pay attention to what happens, what you hear, what you feel. Begin to sink down. Yeah, it might be a little crunchy. Come all the way back up. There might be no sound at all. Both could be indicators of healthy knees. What's more important is what you feel. So if as you're lifting and lowering here from standing to a deep squat, you feel like, ooh, low back, or something in the knee. Pay attention to which side that's coming from, and that might be an indicator of the muscle group you need to strengthen or stretch. Nice, just one more time. Lift all the way up, and we'll come all the way down. Crawl the hands forward, tabletop. Exhale, tuck and round the spine. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. Last time, exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. Come back to neutral. You can cross the ankles, sit to your bum, extend the legs forward, and lie down flat on your back. Once you're lying flat on your back, soften into the floor. Nothing else you need to achieve or accomplish. Take rest, find Shavasana. feel like you need longer in this shape, you are welcome to it. Coming back, start by lengthening the inhales and the exhales. As your breath reconnects you to the body, move your fingers, move your toes. Turn your head side to side. Inhale, give yourself a stretch. And exhale to soften. One more time, inhale, stretch. And exhale to soften. Bend your knees. Either roll to one side or rock up into a seated position. You can sit cross-legged or kneeling. Stack the spine up nice and tall. Close your eyes. You're finding Ujjayi breath like you did at the beginning. Ocean breath. The inhales, feeling that wave crash over you. The exhales, the wave recedes. We'll take one more really full breath together. Fill all the way up. Belly, ribs, collarbone. Open your mouth. Sigh it out like no one's listening. Palms connected, prayer. Heart center, thumbs rest into the sternum. Closing to the sound of a single Om. Inhale. Thanks for being here to share this energy. Please take some with you off the mat. Share with the ones that you love. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you had a good feeling practice. Go enjoy the day. If you have questions for us, stick around to chat or to hear us ramble.
Hopefully not too badly.
Oh, thank you, African Ever.
Thank you. Happy Monday. Hope you all have a great week ahead.
Queenie's back at it.
Back in school this week. Yay.
Her week off has passed. New term.
That week just flew by.
It did.
What did I do?
Taxes.
Oh, yeah. All right. It's a shitty week. Thank you, Deanna. Thanks, Virginie. Thanks, Effie, Claire. Oh my God, I can't see today. Thanks, Bailey. Helen, thank you. Vanessa. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Julia. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thanks, Jen.
Yeah. And yeah.
So many nice comments.
When you are experiencing, because I actually am experiencing a few little bits of discomfort in the body. I have a strain in my forearm that's kind of affecting like what I feel in my wrist as well. And normally my right side is normally my good side. So that's kind of frustrating for me. And then same with my feet. I'm like getting like weird like pains and stuff. But just because we're doing different things and we've,
and we're older.
Strained, and yeah, we're not spring
the
chickens
body
anymore.
doesn't spring back as quickly. Thanks, Go Wellness TA.
But what I will
GTA.
say is this time around, with some of the strains, in the past, because I was teaching a pretty fast schedule, it was maybe more frustrating.
Full schedule, yeah.
Maybe more
Now you have
frustrating.
like more time to heal and actually feel what's going on too. Whereas before we'll just like ignore it and
Well,
like
and
get through
exacerbate it, make it worse, make it worse. So this time around, I'm kind of, it's more like it really is a teacher. It really is kind of showing me like, okay, like that part of your body that you thought was like bulletproof, like never going to have an issue. It's like, yeah, you can still have problems there through overuse, through strain, and you still have to look after that area.
Yeah. Every injury, big or small, is a teacher. So it also helps you brings you like more into your body as well. Yeah. And a big part of this practice, that what we've learned from this physical practice, is to listen to your body in a way where you're just a little more connected. And so hopefully with this deeper connection that, you start to feel things before it becomes like a bigger issue.
Before it becomes chronic.
Yeah. So not talking about like sprains or things that just happen accidentally, or and sometimes even sprains, it's like it happens because there's already weakness around a certain joint, and then you do a certain activity and then that joint can't handle the impact or the movement. So, if you have that better connection with your physical body, you can start to feel, okay, these parts of my body are weaker, and know that you need to strengthen that so that you can protect the joints around that area.
For sure.
And also then maybe other things that aren't sprains or accidents, imbalances internally in the body, or feeling like maybe you're run down. So being more connected in that physical sense will kind of remind you that, hey, you know what, maybe you need to slow down, or you're feeling mentally drained or shitty, unhappy or depressed, like just kind of catching it a little earlier on, and not necessarily being like shove it aside, but just being aware that it's coming and preparing yourself for it a little better. So being physically connected. All right, go ahead, you go.
This is the longest stream of consciousness in the world. No, I was gonna say,
wow,
I've lost it because it kind of built on what you were saying, but then it just disappeared. What happened with the forearm was it was doing a lot of like weights and stuff, which is good. Like I was enjoying doing the weights. But that created a condition where I had used my body more than I normally do in certain directions. And I went to literally lift just a cast iron pan. And I've done it 1,000 times. But because I had been doing that extra work, doing that extra little thing, and it was hot, and I didn't want to drop it, I lifted it, was like, oh, that's really heavy. And I went, oh, I can hold it. And I was like, oh, it's hot, don't drop it. And that's actually what ended up straining the top of my forearm, was just that extra.
You basically gave yourself elbow.
I basically gave myself tennis elbow from lifting a cast iron pot.
One movement.
But the point here is, it's not necessarily going to be stuff that even you're doing on your mat, even just that day-to-day stuff, because you've been adding in that extra workout or whatever.
Like or doing less.
Yeah, you're doing less. You still need to be aware of what you're using your body to do, even if it's something as silly as picking up a pot. You can still have these little things that will happen in the body. So don't feel embarrassed if that has happened to you. We also have a good yoga teacher friend that broke his ribs doing the laundry. And this is a true story. I won't reveal the name, but he was just leaning over to like grab some detergent or something, and he slipped.
I think like he
landed
jumped.
something. He like landed on the washing machine and broke his ribs. Right. So it's often these little silly things. The point is, we all have bodies. Don't feel embarrassed if you are hurt and try to like power through doing stuff. Just give yourself some time to heal, to rest. There's certain things I'm just not doing that don't feel good. There's stuff that I can do that feels fine, like pushing, that kind of stuff. Those motions like this, I have to just watch what I feel in my forearm. Yeah. Was I talking too much this time?
No.
All right, everyone.
Anyways, see you all.
If you're still here, much love. Go enjoy the rest of your day. This will be up, if you're just joining right now, this will be up for 7 days or longer.
Yeah, sometimes we forget to...
So you can practice this anytime you need to.
Yeah. See you on Wednesday.
Bye, everyone. See you Wednesday.
Oh.